Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we're going to begin the release of Sina and Glaceon for the new EV stuff, right? We're getting the EV day, EV month, EV 2-week long duration stuff, right? All of this stuff. We're getting Sina Dexio, the re-release of Elaine and Penny, the variety Hilbert, Hilda, and all that stuff, and Rion and Admin and Erida, right? Like, geez, they're really going all out with the EV stuff this year. I don't know how they're going to top that next year. If they even are. We'll see. But anyway, whatever. We're going to be looking at Sina Glaceon today, see how good she is. Already an amazing sync pair, because Glaceon is awesome. So, 10 out of 10 for me. Video over. Anyway, so, Sina and Glaceon, they are a sprint sync pair with the Special Strike EX roll. They're dropping November 15th, leaving December 6th. That's a good 3-week pull period. Hey, that's good. Right, well... 3-week, yeah, 3-week pull period, right? That's pretty good, obviously. I mean, that's about the average, honestly, and you're definitely going to be able to wait until the next Datamine to be able, if you want to decide if you want to pull for them or not, so that's pretty good. Only thing that that's the worst thing about this character is that, like, in terms of, like, a pure offensive standard, she's really competing hard with Champion, or not even competing. She's getting blown out of the water by Champion Red, which is pretty sad, honestly speaking. But I think she does a lot of other good things that obviously are going to be unique to her. So, fuck Champion Red. And plus, it's Glaceon. It's cooler. Yeah, we're going to let the bias shine through this one. She's Ice, Rock Weak here. She's got her theme skills. I guess those are about the average theme skills. I honestly don't know what they would have. Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense for them. Knowledgeable, battle facility foe. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Looking at the stats, she's got 331 attack, does not matter. 180 defense, 165 special defense. Isn't Glaceon more physically... I'm going to pull this up. Isn't Glaceon specially bulky? Why does it have high physical defense? I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, special. Well, no, it's got both, but more defense. Huh. Okay. Anyway, 390 special attack, 165 special defense. I guess that about pans out. 350 speed. Pretty good stats, and of course, with varying levels of investment, it obviously gets higher. Like, obviously, 6-star EX. Thank you. 6-star EX, level 150. 450 special attack, 228 defense, 113 special defense, 803 HP, 408 speed. These are good stats. With the EX roll, of course, that gets a lot higher. 490 special attack is really good. Duh. It's like the biggest piece. And then, of course, the HP, 60 extra HP. She's got good stats, right? These are definitely not bad. Definitely pretty good for a character that's going to be mostly strike-based. With extra investment from the Super Awakening, the stats get an extra... 10% increase, 531 special attack, over 500 special attack is good, 230 special defense, 246 defense, 933 health, very good, and 444 speed. Oh, we can talk a lot about those stats, but just a little bit later. Either way, special attack's good. Looking at her moves, Ice Beam, 10% freezes. I mean, it's got its uses, frankly. I'm not going to claim it's the most useful thing ever, but it does have its uses. Citrus Berry, berries, a lot of cases with these characters end up being used by like moves or having some special effects or whatever else, but I mean, you can also use this for healing if you really wanted to or really needed to, so that's something, honestly. Trainer move, Au revoir, reduces sync countdown by 2, raises crit by 3, increases special moves next by 2. That's a good way to buff her stats, honestly. The +3 crit's nice, the +2 special moves next is nice, but honestly, with how this character's built, not the biggest fan of what they're trying to do with her. But I mean, even still through that, she's good. Beautiful Icy Wind. This is her buddy move, and this thing is pretty damn good. It's a 2-gauge move, 150 minimum power, hits all enemies. It's activated when her evasion is raised, and it can't be deactivated. It never misses. It ignores passes that would reduce the damage of the move. It ignores passes that would protect the target against a crit. Ignores endurance. It lowers target speed and accuracy by 1, and the power of this move is not lowered, even if there are multiple targets. Okay. That's good. 150 AoE power with no split damage is already pretty solid. Like, it's definitely not bad. But then she's got piercing blows built into it. Obviously, you know where I'm going to go with this. This character's going to slay, literally, in the Legendary Gauntlet. This is already amazing. And of course, being able to like gimmick check a lot of stages could be naturally good anyway if you meet enemies that have like acute senses and healthy advantage. I actually fucking remember the passive name this time. That stuff like that obviously is good. And fluid fortification, you know, getting through like Annabelle's damage reduction passes and whatnot, though she can debuff stats anyway. It's all helpful, right? That's all very helpful. So piercing blows is amazing. It's the bad thing is that it's not on her sync move, right? It's just in this buddy move, but still, it's good, right? Going to her passive skills, she's got entry, special attack, and evasion 4, buffing special attack and evasion by 4 on entry. This is how she gets her buddy move activated. Obviously, if you negate the ability to buff stats or something, or somehow that happens on entry, then you're not going to be having too good of a time, but I don't think that exists, so who cares? Unconditional special attack and evasion buffs on entry, plus 3 crit from the trainer move. She's got good self-sufficiency. She's got dodge from the evasion, and she's got dodge from accuracy debuffs. We're already looking pretty good, frankly. And we love to see that. She's got hit, berry MP, down, and special boost 3, 9, yep, whatever. Reduces MP by 1 for the user's moves that have the berry effect tag, and increases special moves next by 3 when the attack move is successful. And also, first berry MP 0, sync countdown 3, reducing sync countdown by 3 the first time the remaining MP for its moves that have the berry effect tag is 0 each battle. So, Sina can effectively... This is what I was talking about with Sina's big gimmick not being super amazing, or at least, not in my opinion, it's pretty annoying, where she really is going to be utilizing pretty much all of those special moves next within the first 4 turns of the battle for the most part, because you're going to be using her trainer move probably to max out crit or whatever you're going to do with it, and then you're going to use her buddy move for its good power and piercing blows and speed debuffs and accuracy debuffs, all that good stuff, and then you're going to be getting special moves next buffs, which are good, and you're going to be getting that for 3 instances, plus the +2 special moves next you get for using the trainer move, but then you're out, right? And this is the moment in the battle where you don't really have a lot of buffs. You don't have a lot of sync buffs. You don't have a lot of, like, maybe debuffs on the enemy. Stuff like that. Like, maybe their enemy's gimmick isn't checked or something, which, like, not every gimmick is able to be pierced through by piercing blows type of moves, like her buddy move. Like, again, maybe they need a status change or something. Like, they've got, their defensive stats, like, themselves are tripled or doubled or whatever, like wise entry or center entry, stuff that's similar to that, but obviously tied behind gimmicks like Thornton's and Nemona's and whatnot, where they get defensive buffs, not necessarily damage reduction, so that's not hit through by piercing blows, and you're pretty much wasting your special moves next buffs. And even if you are hitting through the enemy's gimmick, you're going to be hitting pretty hard on those first 3 moves, obviously, right? I'm not going to deny that. But then the damage is going to peter out once you run out of those special moves next buffs. And it really would have been better if you could have, multiplied that big enhancement with the special moves next buffs to later on in the battle when you actually had 2, 3, 4 sync buffs or something. When you're actually going to be able to stack a lot of damage together. That's the biggest issue with this character's gimmick, in my opinion, is that she wants to use these buffs way too early on, and this also doesn't allow you to pretty much preserve your citrus berries, because it's just for using an attack move, so you either don't do damage and you can heal up off your berries and get nowhere, or you use your damaging move and you use up your berries and you don't get your healing, which granted only 20% healing, but still having that option is always helpful. Either way, point being, not big on that gimmick. But I still think she's going to be strong, nevertheless. Like, especially in obviously short content, +3 special moves next boost moves every turn for 3 turns is going to be pretty strong, especially in a shorter game mode. But in longer game modes, I can definitely see her still being good because the debuffs are nice, and she is going to be able to maintain pretty good spread damage, especially off of her good offensive stat, good power, no split damage, and all that good stuff. So, honestly, not a bad character when it comes to a base kit, for sure, when it comes to damaging. But, of course, she is going to definitely want extra levels of investment because, there's a pretty high power bar right now, I'd say, in terms of what's going to make a character have, quote-unquote, good damage or whatever. Though, unconditionally, I think she's got a very good base for that. And also, in terms of any multipliers, she's got brain power, which... She can't max her special attack, but obviously most supports nowadays can do that for her, and even then, you don't really need it. She'll be fine, probably pretty much on her own. So that's her base kit. Again, 150 power, not like the strongest thing ever, but still pretty good. And obviously no split damage is great. And she's still got that big dodge tech for herself and for the team, whether it be via accuracy debuffs or evasion buffs. And she's got that very, very strong damage for the first few turns of battle. Very good burst damage. Not too bad. So I guess let's go ahead and look at her grid. 1 out of 5, she gets Fast Runner, Snow Shelter, and Dauntless. 3 yellow tiles. We love to see that. Nothing too crazy, though, frankly. 2 out of 5, she does get Trip Up 9. Quick Cure, Natural Remedy. Unflappable, I guess. Sure. Citrus Berry Master Healer. Ice Beam Gauge Refresh. Train Move Brain Gain 9. And some like special tech tiles and extra power tiles and all that stuff. Citrus Berry Master Healer, I mean, again, you're not gonna you don't really want to use the berry for healing too much. You're probably going to be using it for the power of your attack, so that does kind of suck that you can't really make too much use of this, but I mean, oh well, it's there. And trying to Brain Gain 9, I mean, it's just increasing the extra special moves next for her pretty much first turn of battle, where you're going to be using the training move and getting all that special moves next, right? Also, I do want to add, I do kind of like her method of applying Gauge Acceleration. She gives +2 sync countdown on entry, combine that with Head Start 1 or something from another character, and you've got yourself a lot of sync acceleration. And then once the berry NPR reaches 0, you get that -3 sync countdown with her again as well, so skipping a whole turn. That's pretty helpful. I just wanted to point that out. And plus, again, the -3 on sync, so she's got a good sync utility. Just kind of have to play around it a little bit, depending on how many, when you're going to reach 0 MP, you might not need that -3 sync acceleration. Never know. Anyway, whatever. Other than that, Quick Cure, Natural Remedy, basic status changing condition, denial. This is definitely not a crazy 2 out of 5, pretty much at all. Even for like Gauntlet standards, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's got like decent base stuff, like speed debuffs being a little bit faster is nice. Status changing condition, negation upon the first appliance is nice, but like really there's nothing super crazy here for this character. Nothing that like gives her, tick healing, like Healing Hail or anything like that, or like Agile Entry 2, literally anything like that, which is a little odd, but whatever. Obviously she gets more in dupes, which going into that, 3 out of 5 she gets Hunter's Instinct, 4 sync nodes, Team First Super Sync, Blind Spot, Entry Team Evasion 2, Grand Entry 2, Hostile Environment 4 on Ice Beam. Not bad tiles. So, obviously, we get ourselves the Blind Spot and the 2 passes to buff her Special Attack and Evasion by 2 on Entry again. So, instead of just getting +4 to both of those stats, she can get +6. Wouldn't say the Special Attack one's really worth going for, but the Evasion definitely can be, especially because it's also team buffs. So, you can give yourself your whole team Evasion buffs. I think that's honestly worth considering, for sure. And then again, you're activating multipliers. So she's got 200% multipliers. Combine that with the Striker EX roll. You got yourself that for 200% multiplier AoE sync move. Also combined with her AoE damaging move, right? So she's going to be able to do some pretty solid damage, pretty good nuking damage as well. She's got Hunter's Instinct. It's a 30% multiplier when it's maxed out for her damage. This does give a little bit more value to picking up Trip Up, so you can actually max out those speed debuffs and whatnot. And I do think that Trip Up tile is going to be helpful for like Nita, right? Maintaining the speed debuffs of a character who likes to buff them a fuckload. That's pretty nice, though. Honestly, might not need it considering I would just run her with Irida anyway, who has also got Icy Wind. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah. Pretty basic stuff. Getting the Hostile Environment 4 on Ice Beam is nice. That 50% freeze chance. Coin flip freeze chance, nice. 50-50. It's basically like flinching, right? Though I think a few more stages have like status condition mitigation than they do status change mitigation, i.e. flinch, right? Still, being able to at least have a few uses of freeze to potentially save your run is going to be very helpful, especially when, again, Sina is a character that can do a lot of damage really quickly. So being able to make use of that by having the enemy effectively be unable to move for a few turns, assuming you can land those freezes, again, with the 50% chance, it's pretty helpful, mostly in Legendary Gauntlet, but also, again, could be very helpful in pretty much any stage that does not have freeze mitigation, or, like, freeze immunity. So that's honestly really, really helpful. Other than that, I wouldn't say there's too much. The 4 sync nodes are nice. Team First Super Sync could be good for Honestly, just the damage challenge is like the one I'm really thinking of. I think it could be good for that, but other than that, not really. Still, though, not too bad of a grid here for a 3 out of 5 for sure. Very basic, I would say, but also doesn't mean it's not effective. 4 out of 5, she gets Soften Up 1 and First Aid 4. That's nice healing, honestly. This is one thing she's lacking in terms of, like, again, a Legendary Gauntlet solo field is that healing. That having that 40% health restoration is going to be very nice. Especially when she's fighting Regirock and has to deal with fucking rock weakness. Oh boy, I wonder how she's actually going to handle Regirock. Anyway, whatever. Other than that, she's also got Soften Up 1, guaranteeing those crits. Another very, very good damage challenge. There we go. Damage challenge tile, being able to guarantee those crits. Takes out the RNG in that, and it's by nodes you would kind of want to get anyway. Sync nodes and all that stuff. So that's pretty helpful. At 5 out of 5, she gets hit special defense down 2, debuffing enemy special defense by 2 when her attack move against it is successful. This is going to be very good for helping her maintain her damage, assuming you don't bring her with a special defense debuffer, like, I don't know, Irida, right? She can debuff special defense if you do pick up the appropriate tile. But either way, getting this is nice because it's AoE, it's double debuffs, and it's going to be enhancing her damage obviously because of that. And that's going to be very, very good, especially when you are slowly running out of your berry uses, so you're running out of those special moves next buffs towards, you know, the middle of the battle. She can still kind of maintain some momentum because she has special defense debuffs, and that can help enhance her damage on top of her multipliers and everything else, right? And then she's also got first sync move restore berry MP1, restoring 1 MP to the user's moves that have the berry effect tag the first time her sync move is used each battle. This, instead of giving you 3 instances of +3 special moves next a turn, this gives you 4 instances of it. I do think this would be better if it was just unconditionally getting 1 MP back every single sync cycle. That would not be broken. I mean, it just wouldn't, but that is still good. I mean, I don't, would I say it's worth 5 out of 5? No, not really. Definitely not. Special defense is definitely the bigger of the 2 tiles, but I mean, if you do think that it's very helpful, then, you know, by all means, go for it. So, pretty decent grid. She's definitely a damage-oriented character, but she's got very basic but good utility, right? First Aid 4 for healing, evasion buffs, and a lot of damage to go with it, plus piercing blows. Like, that's going to be good. Gauge efficiency, plus minor healing, plus the ability to mitigate damage in the form of dodging, and the ability to gimmick check. That's a very, very, very strong ability to have there. So, very appreciative of Sina for that. As for what grid I would give her, that's a great question, Bob. I don't know. If you're gonna run her 5 out of 5, you ain't gonna do that. I can tell you that much. Yeah, sure. Oh, it's 11. Why? It's 11. I mean, I feel like for the most part you would want to guarantee the crit on the sync move, but you don't really have to either. So if you don't want to, then go for it. This tile is just lost. It depends really on how much energy you want to invest in her. For the most part, you would be just getting rid of sync tiles. Though, honestly, it might end up being more worth it. Hell, no, honestly, it might not even be worth it to get rid of Hunter's Instinct just because it's still cheap energy. But, like, if you really think... No, I don't think you can do that. Because you still have to go for the special tech tile because of how the grid is oriented. Oh, well. Interesting. Anyway, I mean, for the most part, you're probably just going to be going for most of the sync stuff. I mean, that's about it. You can just forego picking up Soften Up 1 if you think you can deal with the lack of sync crits on the sides or whatever. Again, it's just RNG. If you think you can deal with that, then it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, for just like pure damage, you know, you get the evasion buffs to max out blind spot. You can max out special attack with support or whatever. Special defense debuffs to maintain damage for herself and the team, obviously, and the Hunter's Instinct for the extra multiplier on her DPS move. That's going to be pretty helpful. It's a pretty basic grid, and of course, grids are going to vary pretty much any content you fight. How would I run her for like a legendary gauntlet grid? It depends on what stage you're fighting. It always will. I mean, like if you're your grid's gonna be different if you're fighting Tornadus than if you're gonna be fighting fucking Latias or whatever. We're definitely Regirock, especially because you can't debuff it pretty much at all, which really sucks, man. Whatever. Hostile Environment 4 unfreeze is way too valuable a lot of times. This is an amazing tile. Really love this. Really recommend picking that up as much as possible. +2 evasion is always going to be helpful as well. Blind spot. You're not. The big thing is that she's got gimmick check, herself just because of the piercing blows, but that does not go through her sync. So at this point, her DPS might just straight up be more worth investing in than her sync move, just because you're not going to be able to make too much usage of it. But I think it's still worth going for this side of the tile, simply because you get that extra +2 evasion, which can be crucial for dodging important attacks. I don't know. Really, it's just going to depend what you're fighting. I honestly don't even know what I would do if I don't know what grid to pick up even if I was to fight a specific stage anyway. There's just too much good stuff. Like, the healing's nice, the evasion's nice, the damage is nice, the freeze chance is nice. She's got a lot of good stuff. It's really just going to depend how you want to run her. Always will. Looking at her at the extra levels of investment, again, 6 out of 10, she's got the 10% extra stats, over 500 special attack, nearly 250 defense, 230 special defense, all that stuff, all good stuff. What does the Super Awakening give her again? Moves 1.1 times extra power buff here, 195 power on her beautiful Icy Wind. That's very nice. The only reason I would ever invest in this character's extra move levels is just because I want to get the extra power on her moves. Whatever. At 8 out of 10, she gets an extra sync multiplier of however much. You have extra 40 power pretty much. Combine that with a few sync nodes, and of course you're getting over 350 power sync moves with 200% multiplier. She's going to be having a good nuke. That's the point, right? Very strong. At 9 out of 10, she gets extra power on her buddy move, and I see Ice Beam too, but mostly her buddy move. 240 power. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Oh yes, hit hard. Hit hard off of that 530 plus special attack stat with 240 base power. We love that. And then at 10 out of 10, she gets her passive, whatever, fucking Super Awakening passive. Arctic Arrival, debut special boost 3, and endurance. Not really that great, honestly. Just not gonna sugarcoat it, not good. Arctic Arrival sucks. Let me verify that it sucks real quick. Yeah. Arctic Arrival on Sina sucks, because even if you want to pair this with another character, it's not going to be that helpful, because we have another prime example to compare it to, which is Irida. Irida has Arctic Arrival, which is good because she sets Hail on top of it, which is good for meeting enemy gimmicks like Argenta's Rain, most importantly, Nita's Sand, or Annabelle's Sun, or Moltres' Sun, you know, whatever, right? You can fight around those stages because of the fact you can set Hail alongside your Ice Zone. Sina is still not good with Sina even if you extend it, because Irida also has extension, but it still doesn't last to the first sync move, which is where this would be the most helpful. Basically having Ice Zone is really only good on entry if you are trying to meet an enemy's gimmick to fighting them, and even then you still need instances of the move to fight their enemy's gimmick, like if they need a field effect or something, you still need more of that, because this is not going to last for nearly long enough at all, and even then, again, that's niche. She's also got debut special boost 3 for +3 special moves next on entry. Again, a similar problem to where you're using up all of your special moves next buffs early on when you don't have debuffs, sync buffs. That's what we're calling it. Weather effects potentially even activated. Like, again, I know she sets Ice Zone, so she's really trying to do damage early on, but it really is just so much less effective than if she were to be able to do it later on in battle. I mean, it's gonna be decent in general, again, for shorter content and trying to really like burst through stages early on before she can get hit with a lot of damage, again, arena setting, but it's still quite ineffective or inefficient. Not ineffective, I guess, but definitely inefficient compared to how it frankly should have been, but whatever. Anyway, she's also got endurance. Being able to survive a KOing attack could be crucial. Just depends how the fight ends up going. I don't really have much of a comment. It really just depends like what damage ranges are and fights, how tough certain fights can be for her, and also like what your team is and whatnot. Potentially that endurance could save you, right? There is definitely a probability of that, but there's also the chances it's just useless depending on what your team setup is or like how the fight goes or whatever it is. So yeah, I wouldn't say her stuff her Super Awakening is not really that worth investing in. Really, she's a character that gets pretty much everything at 5 out of 5. Though really, I think if you were to invest in her Super Awakening, it would be for the power buff, which, I mean, that's obviously not, for a lot of people, that's not going to be a good enough reason to try and super awaken a character, especially when that resource is super expensive right now. So, yeah, if you want to get, like, the best bang for your buck, her 5 out of 5 is good enough. Her 3 out of 5 is good enough, right? She's definitely going to be good enough in a lot of different content in terms of how much damage she can put out, how, like, meeting enemy gimmick checks and all that stuff. She's going to be good for that, so definitely count on that. And a very, very good introduction to the rest of the month for Eevee Day / Eevee's 2-week vacation. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to be summoning for Sina tomorrow. Be very be square, I guess. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons. Good luck on your skipping. And good luck on all the Eevee celebration festivities and summons and whatever else. Yeah, peace.